videos, but it was very hard for me to do because I came across an article from about Stacey Dash and something she said, and it's very hard for me to keep my mouth shut, so welcome to the video of my rant. She said that we need to get rid of Black History Month, right? I agree with that statement. I don't like Black History Month. Black history should be taught every fucking month, just as white history is taught every fucking month. And that's why when people say things like, well, why isn't there a white history month? Motherfucker, there's a white history month every month. Even during Black History Month, there's a white history month. Sorry, pop-up things on my phone. I can't stand it. And not just that. During this Black History Month, there is nothing but focus on slavery, the civil rights movement, and Dr. King. Malcolm X is never mentioned. In fact, when I was going to the University of Pennsylvania, in my English class, I chose to write. They gave you an assignment, and it was a final assignment, and that assignment was to write a persuasive argument about anything at all. You pick it, anything, right? I picked my article topic, and it was Malcolm X. Two professors told me that the article was written very well, and that by all standards it would be an A or whatever, but because of the topic, because I chose Malcolm X, they could not accept the article. This has nothing to do with Black History Month. This is just me going off on a bunny trail, telling you that people just seem to be very extra discriminating towards Malcolm X. So they gave me then a list, and on that list were things like birth control, the army, joining the army, at that time it was right around when we'd been in Iraq for like 2 years, so the army and the position of all that shit, and the list had like 5 things on it, and those were just some of them. Now mind you, they should write it about anything, and I chose my topic, and it dealt with racism, and obviously, and Malcolm X, and so basically I refused to write another paper, especially since they told me the paper was very well written and would pass otherwise, and I failed the course. And I'm proud that I did. That paper is that topic. There's nothing wrong with that topic, and I'm just curious as to why it bothered them so much that the topic was Malcolm X. I'm curious to. I understand in school, I think that they don't want to teach anybody or make anybody get radical ideas like, self-protection or... Anyway, back to Black History Month. That's the only things they teach. Slavery, civil rights, and Dr. King. Those are your main things. You don't have anything about Black Wall Street. You don't have anything about the bombings in Philly I talked about earlier. You don't have anything about the inventors, the Black inventors, the contributions that Blacks have made to the world. I have a book that's called They Came Before Columbus. It's almost like America doesn't want people to think that Black people had a history other than being a slave or something, because anything African, anything to do with the history of Black people is just not relevant at all. It just doesn't matter. You may hear about Egypt once in a while, but that's rare. So you don't hear anything about like the topic of the book, which is, as I said, They Came Before Columbus. And that book mainly deals with the evidence and proof that long before Columbus dumbass landed in India, anyway, long before he ended up here, Africans had been trading with the natives of this continent, down in Mexico and up all through North America. And there's proof, physical proof, still to this day of that. So the point of my saying that is, black people's history does not just consist of freaking slavery and the civil rights movement and that. Those are important issues, yes, but when you talk about slavery, they even water that down. They don't talk about the black codes that came in. They don't talk about Jim Crow. They don't talk about the FBI holding files on black activists. They don't talk about any of the shit that really matters. They water down slavery. They talk about the civil rights movement. They talked about Dr. King, peace, 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 and turn the other cheek, and that's it. So no, I agree with this bitch. On one thing, we should not have Black History Month. It should be a monthly, weekly thing. There should be a class dedicated to it. White people do not dominate 12 months. Well, it's not, we don't have school for 12 months, but you know what I mean. We don't dominate the white history is not the dominating factor of history, but they'd like you to think that. That's complete bullshit. If it wasn't for black people, America wouldn't be what it is today. We wouldn't have the White House. We wouldn't have any of the National Mall, and not just to mention things like that. As I was reading in my book, it's called Slavery by Another Name, and in it right now, it's talking about how even when slavery ended, the so-called masters would still pretty much had them enslaved because, right. So they would sell them off to the government, and then if the government didn't pay them the white people enough, the white people could protest and say, I want more money, or they'd be whatever, right? Or if they did something as outrageous as trip, or as horrible as, what were some of the things? Tripping was one. If you change employers without notifying or getting a license to change employers first, things like that would get you sent to prison for insane amounts of time, and then you would get sent off to do labor work and construction work, pretty much just like it is today. They would send you off to these labor camps that construction workers, and anybody with knowledge of the dangers refuse to do, and that's what they do today. So that part's never ended. But anyhow, so right, I don't know what that rant was about, where I was going with that, but to put it in is this: we do need to get rid of it, but we also need to get rid of a lot. We need to move out the bullcrap, repetitive bullshit of white Americans being so whatever they try, glorious as they want to try to make us, which is bullshit. We wouldn't. The country we know is founded on black men, founded on the backs of thousands of black men. In the South, they obviously grew very, very angry after slavery ended, because that's the only way those lazy fucks got their money. So there's no reason to hate on black history. I don't know what this idiot or idiots that can control the curriculums in school think, but the very country they're in and the place they're sitting at, if it was not for these thousands of innocent black slaves or prisoners for doing things like changing employers, who were forced to build these buildings or forced to clear out whatever they were forced to do, this country would not be as it is now. Because I sure as hell don't think the fat white guys who called themselves master or overseer would have been out there building the White House or building the National Mall. I don't think they have the strength, balls, or manhood. So, there's that. So what I think is, we should end Black History Month because it doesn't give you enough time to cover all the true history. And we should take some of this stupid-ass white history that's not relevant, that makes no sense, and it's trying to just trying to glorify something that's not in need of glorification. And instead of having that, put in some more real history. Real history being the contributions of black people to society, to American society. Black history, more than just slavery. What happened before they were slaves? And like I said, learning about the horrificness of slavery is very important. It's tragic, it's horrific. It breaks my heart to look at the pictures and to read accounts. But it needs to be faced. People need to face what these evil fucks did. They need to, and anyways, I'll stop there with that part anyway. Last thing I'll say is this. This article ended with, we have to make up our minds. Either we want to have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET, where you're only awarded if you're black. If it were the other way around, we would be up in arms. It's a double standard. There shouldn't be a Black History Month, she added. We're Americans, period. That's it. Yeah, we are, but we're Americans that have double standards, as she said, but she's kind of got it off balance a bit, because the Americans that have anyway, right. And so someone asked, so you're saying there shouldn't be a Black History Month because there is not a White History Month? Exactly, she replied, exactly. White History Month is every fucking month. Let me say that one more time to any of you idiots who don't understand that. Black history is robbed. So all I have to say to this bitch is, she got it right at we don't need a Black History Month, but she got her reasons wrong. She has her racism in there. We don't need a Black History Month. We need that all the time. And we need to get rid of these lies, the deception, and the glorification of people who don't need to be glorified, for there's no reason to. Over-glorified. She's right. We don't need a Black History Month. But it's not because there's no White History Month. Because dumbass is every fucking month. I don't know where she fucking went to school, but white history is all we learned, except for February. Right.